All right, so today we're doing a block heater on a 2011 Toyota Corolla. This has the 1.8 liter motor. So the easiest way to do this was first to remove the airbox, which was located right here. You can see this is the lower part of the airbox. There's three 10mm bolts that hold that in place, and a single 10mm bolt on the back side that's the support for this wire harness. Of course, you want to take off your negative battery terminal. Also remove the top airbox, left the harness plugged in. It's easy enough just to set up here and off to the side. And then also remove the duct tube that goes from the airbox to the throttle body here, as well as the PCV hose here. Now, where it's located, if you have a manual transmission car, you will have this bracket here, this cast iron, bracket for the shifter that you will need to remove. Those are two 14mm bolts that are located down on the back side of it. You can kind of see the hole down here for it. The block heater I already put in. We use the Toyota block heater kit. I just put the element in, so we still have the cord to plug in, some zip ties, and then the actual plug itself. So we'll do the routing there at the end. You can see the heater. It's plugged in right here. That's the correct orientation. There's a flat on the front with the clip on the back side, so the flat goes towards the front of the engine, and the clip is on the back side. There is some of the lubricant here that's kind of on the edge that was used to insert it in, but it's just a hole, and you pretty much just put the lubricant on the cartridge, the element rather, and slide it into the block, and it clips securely in place with the spring clip. That's part of the kit. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and reattach this bracket and plug the cord in, and then I'll start routing the cord, and I'll kind of show you guys where I chose to route that cord. So stand by. All right, so I'm just going to show everybody how I routed the cable itself from the block heater. So as shown before, that little orange plug, that's where it actually plugs into the block heater. Now there's a couple moving parts down here on the manual transmission models. You have the whole shift linkage down here. You've got a cooling fan here in the back side. So I wanted to make sure that I routed it somewhere where it was going to be relatively cool, away from coolant lines and stuff. And I left the tails on the zip ties for now, just to kind of show everybody where everything was located. I am going to cut them once I'm done. So in any case, so I started here, kind of ran it down, tied it right here. The first tie is on this ignition harness. It's tied up right there. And then I kind of routed it down in front of the shift harness. The next tie was to this harness down here. Tied it there, ran it up a little, tied it again. And now we have a coolant line here. So what I did was it kind of ran under the edge of the battery. And it's pretty loose down here, so it's not like tight or rubbing on either the coolant hose or the battery. I tied it again to the fan harness tie here, and there was a lot of extra cable. So what I did was I kind of looped it all up and then tied it to the battery hold down. Now if I had more time doing this, and I may do this in the future, because Toyota gives you a lot of these cable ties and they're cheap, so what I might do is take the battery out in the future and route it up a little better behind the headlight so it's hidden a little more, but for now this will work out fine. And then I ran the cable over this little space between the radiator and the radiator support, and then down and around, and there's this little Velcro tape that they let you tie it up with. I tied it here to the grill, so there's actually some give to it, like it can actually pull out a little bit, and if it pulls out, it'll actually pull on here and pay some of this out a little bit, so if, say we're backing away and we forget to unplug it, it'll actually pull it out here a little bit with the cord, and worst comes to worst, it'll just break the cable ties. Like, it shouldn't actually break the cord or anything and rip anything else out. So that's kind of the idea behind it anyway. So that's pretty much the finished product, and then from this point it's just putting the two bolts back on the shifter cable, bolting that up, bolting the airbox back in, and just reattaching everything. It's a pretty straightforward job. I think it took me 15 minutes getting to this point, and I just used a Phillips head screwdriver, a 10mm socket, and a 14mm socket. So that's all. If you got any questions, just fire away on the comments and let me know.